Now, I'm not a huge Elon Musk fan, but I do love the fact that he basically purchased Twitter, turned it into X to ensure free speech in America and around the world. And of course, free speech is something the left hates. They want to control that speech. They often call it misinformation or disinformation, just so they can tamp down on whatever narrative they don't like. Now, some people, of course, have opened their eyes to this, like Bill Maher. Even though he's still a leftist, he's aware of the problem the left faces. However, other people, like Joe Scarborough and Mark Cuban, don't really seem to see the problem, as we're going to see today on these clips. But before we get to the video, please like and comment so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
But this is a guy who's one of the great minds of our time.
Right.
And I hate that he's in the sewer with you know, Twitter and doing all of this stuff. You support whoever you want to support, but again,
but you don't have to lie your ass off.
There's so much disinformation that's being spread.
Here's where the rubber meets the road, because this is important. He wanted to, this week, he's suing the 12-member commission, the California Coastal Commission. He launches his rockets from Vandenberg Space Force Base. We used to call it Air Force Base, but I guess now we're into Space Force time. He wanted the proposal to expand the number of launches. Okay, again, one of the most impressive companies, an American company. He wants a little more, give it to him. No. The commission, some bureaucrat, said, nope, and this is the reason why. Commissioner Carol Hart saying, we're dealing with a company, the head of which has aggressively injected himself into the presidential race and made it clear what his point of view is. Yes, because he lives in America, and he can do that.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with this, and, you know, the right thinks that the left is in a very different place with free speech than they have been before, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Now, as I mentioned before, Bill Maher is a big leftist, but he has come out recently and has been a big advocate for free speech, the free exchange of ideas, right? So he recognizes this for exactly what it is. We have a bureaucrat who's out of control and is trying to punish Elon Musk because of his political beliefs, all right? You know, your normal, average, everyday American would say, yeah, that's not right. However, that's not quite good enough for the rest of the panel.
This is arrogant. You don't punish somebody. It would be like if we stopped Henry Ford from making the cars because we didn't like what
but can you take one anecdotal example? One idiot, right? Truly an idiot to stop.
This is not an idiot. This is someone with power.
An idiot with power is not unusual.
Okay, but that's...
Right.
Oh, but having power matters.
Well, let's talk about why we've talked about entrepreneurs and what makes America great. You know what makes our economy, what sustains our economy? The rule of law. And that's what I believe is at stake at this election. We want a fair and equitable approach to the rule of law. The great thing about America is an idiot makes a decision like that based on politics instead of based on what their job is. You can take it to the courts. The courts will overturn it, and I guarantee you they're gonna have that decision overturned. And they're going to find another reason, a better reason, a more relevant reason to deny.
And he'll learn a harder lesson. He'll just move more of his production and more of his launches somewhere else, to Florida or to Texas, wherever. I mean, they'll learn the hard way.
What I want to point out here is the flippant attitude that both Joe Scarborough and Mark Cuban have, okay? And notice that Joe Scarborough said they'll have to find a different reason, a better reason to stop his launches. He doesn't think it's wrong necessarily that they're doing this based purely on political reasons. They'll just have to find some better way to stop Elon Musk from making his company more successful. Now, Mark Cuban, on the other hand, he has a bit of a different take. Yes, Elon Musk can move his company, thus costing California millions of dollars in tax revenue every single year. But he kind of brushes off this idea that idiots in power are dangerous, okay? Just imagine a few of these idiots are now elected officials. And also imagine a few of these idiots are Supreme Court justices, right? That can have a major effect on policy. And that's why you want to keep leftists as far away from the levers of power as possible. But these guys just don't seem to get it.
But it's just the attitude that I find scary. That they're far too willing to stifle freedoms, including speech, for the sake of safety or misinformation, sometimes, which is coming from everybody. It's, you know, no one has a monopoly on it. Or just power.
You're saying nobody
it's just
has a
power.
monopoly on it. Come on. That's some moral relativism right there.
I said nobody has a monopoly.
You said nobody has a monopoly on it, but that's like saying nobody has a monopoly on being a billionaire. He's got that monopoly up here. I mean, he's got more money than us. a lot more money than us. So,
I don't get the
you don't get it?
I don't know what point you're making.
Look, you're saying it's both sides.
Well,
there is no doubt.
There's no misinformation.
There's some disinformation from the left. But comparing it to what Donald Trump spews out every day, every week, comparing it to what Elon Musk is spewing out, unfortunately, on X, you sound like Brett Stevens now, with all due respect. It's a joke. That's a real time.
And you sound like him, who looks like Rachel Maddow. Or
you understand what I'm saying?
I've never argued with that. I've never argued of a false equivalency. I just said there is misinformation from both sides. No, I lived through COVID. Don't tell me there wasn't misinformation.
But there's a difference between...
I lived through stupid policies based on bad information and stifled information.
But intent matters.
That's what Zuckerberg said. He said they were forcing us not to put out...
But intent matters, right? Even back then, they were trying to save lives, even if they did it the wrong way. Okay. But here with this lady, there's no good intent. She's just trying to prove her point. If you get it wrong, trying to do the right thing...
Okay, that was interesting. Bill Maher comes out and rightly says that people making these decisions based purely on politics is scary to him, all right? He lived through COVID. He remembers all the weird rules, all the lockdowns, all the mandates, which of course were unconstitutional, okay? But then Joe Scarborough, he gets upset for some reason. And then he goes into some nonsensical rant about Mark Cuban being a billionaire and having some type of monopoly on that. All right. And I think his point was that, oh, the lies from the right are much worse than the lies from the left. Even though I would say, think back to the last several years. Which lies cost you your business? Which lies took away your freedoms? Which lies kept your kids out of school? And by the way, when the left speaks about Trump, they don't ever take into account that, yeah, he's often making jokes. He's often using hyperbole. He's often exaggerating, right? That is what he does. But no, every time he says something like that, it's an out and out lie and we have to keep him out of government because he's too dangerous. But then, of course, Mark Cuban over here, he's saying, oh, as long as the lies, as long as the misinformation is done for the public good, I'm okay with that. As long as you have good intentions, it's okay to stamp out personal freedoms. And that, of course, is the problem with the left. They don't get it. Our freedoms do not come from the government. They are inalienable. They come from God, right? And they cannot be taken away just because some bureaucrat thinks he can save lives, etc. Okay? But of course, I want to highlight more of Joe Scarborough's stupidity. Check out this rant on the economy.
And it drives me crazy when I hear politicians talking about how bad things are in America. We've got a $26 trillion GDP. China, which was supposed to overtake us 10 years ago, remember that? They're like stuck at 17, 18 trillion. California, which is supposed to be a socialist state, has a bigger GDP, fourth biggest GDP in the world, bigger than India's, bigger than Britain's, bigger than Canada's. Texas has a bigger GDP than Russia. I mean, it's incredible relative to the rest of the world. And that's the only way we can measure this. Our economy is stronger today than any time since World War II.
Yep.
And so much of that has to do, nobody's saying that. Maybe it's because nobody gets elected by saying how great this country's economy is. But it's not just the tech sector, which is great, but it's also small businesses.
Yes.
It's what's happening on Main Street. It's entrepreneurs. It's people that...
It's our nature.
It's people...
We're greedy, and it's good.
Do you know the great... I've got another way to say it. That's not straight out of Wall Street. But one of my favorite commercials ever that explains the essence of America was Bill Gates... was Steve Jobs' first Apple commercial, Think Different. We're just different than the rest of the world. A guy like Bill Gates borrows $5,000. He gets a couple of hippies from Berkeley. They go into the dad's garage and they create Microsoft. And I will tell you, that's a mindset that guys like Mark have. That's not a mindset other people across the world have.
We are the only country that does that. Yeah. You can't go anywhere else, right? When you go here, everybody has the American dream. Everybody's got that one idea in their stomach here. They're going to turn it into
That's it. We have so much wrong with our country, but that is still the thing
that
separates us. That it's still a place where people feel they can go and they don't cut down the tall trees.
Right.
And you can have an idea and you can reinvent yourself tomorrow. And you can fail.
Right. It doesn't matter how many times you fail in this country. You only have to be right
at something else.
They are so right in what they just said, but also so misguided from Joe Scarborough, okay? America's economy is the envy of the world, and it's all because of capitalism, the free market, all right? These are the things that make America different and have allowed us to become the powerhouse that we are. However, Joe Scarborough's original statement was he hates to hear politicians talk about how bad the economy is right now. And don't get me wrong, the stock market is booming. Things are going well in certain sectors, but when you look at your average, normal, everyday American, they are suffering. And that's the economy that we are talking about. When you have to spend $17,000 more under this current administration than you did under Trump to have the same lifestyle, yes, people are suffering. When inflation is outpacing wage growth, yes, people are suffering. And that's why Kamala Harris is now officially falling in the polls and Donald Trump is surging. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.